play different roles in the construction industry, and here we are in the middle of a development that's underway to highlight the importance of the streamlined permitting bill, which we are celebrating and talking about today. Something that's near and dear to my heart because of the life that I lived for 35 years before I came into this office. And as a former contractor, I know that a bureaucratic permitting process is bad for everybody except the government. And we want to flip that around and make the processes that we have at state government good for the customers who we are serving. And that would be, in this case, those that are in the building industry. So we're one of the fastest growing states in America. 95 counties we have, 92 of them, I think, 91, 92 of them have had population growth in the last couple of years. People are moving into this state in record numbers from all over America because they look at Tennessee and they like what they see. And they like the opportunity and the security and the freedom that's offered here in this state. But what happens when you are one of the fastest growing states is homes and buildings and storefronts pop up in record numbers as well, which is good. It's good for our state. It's good for those that are engaged in this industry. It's good for our economy. It means that there's opportunity for more people that live in this state. But with more building comes more plans reviews, more permitting, more inspections. And with more reviews and permits and inspections, traditionally, that means more cost for those who are building these buildings, because time is money, and time that equates to money, that equates to cost, equates to dollars out of the back pockets of Tennesseans. This house costs more if it takes longer to build. And that's not good if we're trying to streamline the processes. So we worked with the members of the General Assembly. Many of them are here today, and you'll be hearing from Leader Johnson and from Leader Lamberth, who helped me shepherd this piece of legislation through the General Assembly. I'm really proud of this work, and really proud of the partners that came together to inform us about just how to make it meaningful and substantive so it's better for those in the industry. We won't stop here. We'll continue to work. We'll continue to create a more streamlined process because when we get government out of the way and we put in place the private sector, we work more efficiently. Government has a very important role to protect safety and of individuals and companies, and to protect the safety of Tennesseans. And the permitting process is important, but doing it quickly is important as well. So I'll let others speak. Let me start off with the leader of the Republican side of the Senate, Jack Johnson. Leader Johnson is responsible for, on the Senate side, shepherding legislation that comes from the governor's office. I'm very grateful for his work on this piece of legislation and all the work that we do in the Senate. Leader Johnson, wherever you are. There you go.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Governor, and thank you to everyone who is here today. This is a great moment. I love this part of the legislative process. You know, legislation comes about because people bring us good ideas. This was not my idea to come up with this bill. It came from the industry. It came from people who work in this industry every day. It came from people who can bring us good ideas. Then that starts the whole process. We begin drafting legislation. The governor's office starts working on legislation. If it's an administration bill, as this was, the governor's office brings that to Leader Lamberth and myself. We introduce it, and then we shepherd it through the committee process. And it's a difficult process to pass legislation, and it should be. But you go through that whole committee process, you get a bill to the floor, you get it passed, and then it ends up getting to the governor, and then this is when it becomes law, is when the governor sets his pen to this legislation, it becomes law. So it's always a great, great occasion. I want to thank Governor Lee and his staff I want to thank all the stakeholders, the people that are in this business. I'm not in the construction industry, but I've got a lot of friends who are, and they are wonderful, trusted voices of sound reasoning when we're trying to craft good legislation like this. So I want to thank all the people who helped get us to this very, very important point. I want to thank my friends in the House of Representatives as well. I have the honor of serving with the House Majority Leader William Lamberth, who is my partner in crime when it comes to passing good legislation like this, and it's my pleasure to introduce Leader William Lamberth now.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Jack. Folks, he does a fantastic job for the Senate. And before I begin, Elaine Davis is here. This is her district, so Representative Elaine Davis and Representative Justin Lafferty. Y'all give them a hand. So look, this has got to be one of the coolest bill signings I've been to, mainly because of all you folks here that are actually making this development come out of the ground. I know Dan Mitchell's going to speak here in just a moment. His development is just next door, right?
Just down the road.
Just down the road. So money doesn't grow on trees, but it does grow up out of the ground. And the only way you can make it is if you can get through a process smoothly and quickly so that these folks can have homes to live in and you don't get tied up with a bunch of red tape. Is that right? I mean, that's what I hear from my contractors back in Sumner County, just north of Nashville, is every single day that they've got a loan that's out there, that they've got money that's tied up in the ground instead of in a home that's out there on the market and being sold. It's a day that they are losing money. It's a day they're paying a crew to stand around instead of work on the next house. The governor gets that. This governor gets that more than any governor that I've ever seen in the entire country because of his background, because we support business. And so, Governor, I want to thank you for your leadership on this. And I'm just tickled to be able to get this bill passed. And it will be the first, I hope, of many streamlined permitting bills so that we can get government out of y'all's way and get these houses up and get families in them. So thank y'all for having us here today. We're just tickled to be here. And Mr. Mitchell, I believe you're up next.
All right.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say the homeowner of Greater Knoxville is certainly thankful that Mr. Lee has come and Governor Lee's been able to, and our further legislators here today to be able to present this bill. It's going to make a huge difference for us builders. It really is going to streamline our process and giving us one more tool in our tool belt to be able to combat affordability in the housing industry right now. And right now, that's the biggest crisis that we face, housing affordability, being able to provide homes at an affordable price for our consumers. And I want to thank Governor Lee for really spearheading this and taking this upon himself to be able to push this through, because we really couldn't have done it without him. It is the first stepping stone, and we have many more that we anticipate to be able to coming from his office and from the legislators to be able to help us as builders. But again, give him a big round of applause and give him the thanks for where we're at today. It's really appreciated, and we are thankful from the Homeowners Association of Tennessee and all my fellow builders that are standing out there right now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jimmy?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Jimmy Granberry from Nashville. I'm very honored to be here today representing the commercial builders and developers in Middle Tennessee and all over the state. The governor mentioned time is money, and this is just huge when you get into these delays and delays and delays. I'll give you an example. Last year, these gentlemen passed a bill that gave us the authority to do third-party inspections on electrical. Every contractor here knows in the critical path how important that electrical inspection is, because you can't have drywall, you can't put cabinets up, you can't finish the project. When the bill was passed last year, there was a 90-day delay in getting inspections. Within 30 days, there was no delay. So the proof is in the pudding. Right now, I suspect that the people that have permits out there that are in that 30-day crunch will be getting their permits in 30 days, not 6 months, which is really important. And another point that is really important to make is just not us as commercial private developers. The airport authority, which I'm honored to serve on in Davidson County, we also have to get permits. So government is not immune to the permitting process. So talking about industry and what that means for Knoxville and Chattanooga and Tri-Cities and Nashville to have that process streamlined, so when those tourists or visitors come to Nashville or Knoxville or wherever, and they don't have to wait on getting a hamburger because the tenant didn't get their permit in time. So it does impact not only the commercial folks, but also the government folks. So it's important. And infrastructure, we all hear about infrastructure, roads and bridges, and it's a huge part of this administration's agenda. And that's so very important as well, because they have to get permits as well. So the quicker we can get the roads built, the bridges built, the pipes in the ground, those things done, it just impacts in such a positive way as all these businesses that are coming to Tennessee. They're going to have a house, they're going to have a grocery store, but they're going to have a road to get there, an airport to get there, et cetera, et cetera. So it makes a huge impact, and I just can't thank Governor Lee and Senator Johnson and Representative Lamberth and his other folks here. It's just a really great thing when our organization's called NAOP, and Rachel Blackhurst is here today. She works for us, and when she can get direct access to these people to talk about those good ideas that Senator Johnson mentioned, get those good ideas in front of the legislators who don't do this for a living, and then that way can get it passed. But we can't thank you enough, all of y'all, for all y'all done for this great state, and I'm just happy to play a small part. Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to sign a piece of legislation to make this real. But once again, let me just say thank you to everybody, not just for being here, but for what you represent. You represent tens of thousands of people who are out on the job sites today, whose livelihoods depend on, and whose clients are depending on a more efficient government process. That's what we're trying to do here. This piece of legislation will be one piece of that. So we'll get her signed.
Yeah, I don't want y'all falling off the back.
Yeah, I mean.
Making sure every page is in there.